Welcome back to another episode of FNS Sports Media Podcast. This is episode 32. We're recording at the office, and right now we're about to be talking just some free agency. There's been a lot of moves since we last recorded for Nick Saban retiring. We just haven't really been here a lot, I haven't been feeling well, but now we're all good, and we're about to just be recording some MLB podcasts.
Yeah, let's jump right into it.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to start with some of the biggest news, probably. The Blue Jays will have a new designated hitter for the 2024 season. They've signed Justin Turner for a one-year contract. It's reportedly $13 million deal with the Band Sports client who can earn an additional $1.5 million based on roster bonuses and performance incentives, taking it up to $14.5 million. I think this is a great deal for the Toronto Blue Jays. They needed some more bats after they lost a few players, and they just needed more bats, period.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad. I think if you're a Blue Jays fan going into it, we started free agency thinking you were going to get Shohei Ohtani, and you end up with Justin Turner.
Not exactly what you were looking for.
Yeah, but it could fill a void. He can play corner infield if Vladdy needs a rest. Only problem, it's just another right-handed bat. The team's already got a ton of them. It would have been nice to have a lefty in their lineup, but it'll do.
Speaking of Vladdy is going to be the MLB The Show 24 cover athlete, so that dropped on yesterday. But the next is going to be the Diamondbacks added Jock Peterson for their DH, 1 year, $9.5 million contract. And honestly, looking at all the teams besides the Dodgers, we're just going to minus the Dodgers. But the Diamondbacks honestly have had a really good offseason. They added Eduardo Rodriguez and just a couple other players. They re-signed Lourdes Gurriel, and they just had a perfect offseason after winning the National League title.
Yeah, I think everybody focuses on the Dodgers, and rightfully so, with the amount of money they spent and everything else. But the Diamondbacks have low key been pretty active in the free agent market, and they had to do what they had to do to try to keep up with the Dodgers. Nobody wants the Dodgers to just run away with the West. You got to make some sort of effort, especially a team like the Diamondbacks that went to the World Series last year. Knocked the Dodgers out of the playoffs. It's a good signing for him.
Yep. Next, the Rangers added right-handed pitcher David Robertson for 1 year in the $12 million range. Probably going to replace Jose Leclerc, but even though Jose Leclerc showed that he can be a closer, but the Rangers needed just another guy in their bullpen, and so they added David Robertson.
Yeah, David Robertson's been a solid back into the bullpen guy. He can pitch in high leverage situations. He'll come in whenever you need him to.
Yeah.
He's an older guy, so a 1 year contract makes sense. But the Rangers definitely needed to bolster the bullpen, and with the Rangers TV deal being up in the air. I think that Robertson is a good fit at a good price point that isn't going to break the bank for the Dodgers.
Yeah. The next is going to be Rhys Hoskins signs with the Brewers for 2 years, $34 million contracts with an opt-out after the first season. This is good. I don't know about Rhys Hoskins being healthy, but if he is healthy, 30 home runs, not the best contact in the world, but if he's putting up 30 home runs in that lineup, it'll probably be okay.
Yeah, I think this kind of signing is a little bit unlike the Brewers. The Brewers aren't one of those teams that frequently goes out and signs kind of big name guys in free agency. They don't give out a lot of $34 million contracts to guys on free agency. But I think it's a good deal for the Brewers. The Brewers, with the new manager trying to come in and keep their position as as one of the top teams in the National League Central, needed to do something, and so signing Rhys Hoskins be a good fit for them.
Yes, he could fill that first baseman role. The Angels continued adding to their bullpen. They added a few other guys, but they re-signed Matt Moore, the veteran lefty. I think it's great. Now the Angels are kind of adding their own super bullpen because before that they had added Robert Stephenson, 3 years, $33 million. So they're just kind of adding bullpens because they had that weak spot last year, so they wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah, I think the Angels are trying to do whatever they can, also not to fall too far behind in the AL West. Uh, and these are all solid moves. None of them are moves that are going to move the needle too much, but they're definitely going to make sure that the Angels aren't going to be one of those teams that's just going off tanking.
Yeah. The Nationals signed Joey Gallo, their agreement for 1 year, $5 million. I think this is a great deal because Joey Gallo probably going to get playing time in Washington. So I think that if he could rebuild his stock, it's only $1 million deal. Comes back to free agency, and then he hits 30 bombs. Maybe that could be an opportunity for Joey Gallo, but he's just not shown that he can do that in the past few seasons. So, but the Nationals, I feel like they'll give him playing time, so he could do something.
He needs to drink whatever Cody Bellinger was drinking. Thinking about rebuilding his brand, rebuilding his image, rebuilding his game. Hopefully, hopefully this signing here and him signing in Washington will allow him to figure out something. Yes, he may hit 30 bombs. He also may strike out 300 times. So he's gonna have to take that playing time that he's gonna get and figure out how to keep his game in a little bit more balance.
Yes. Probably the biggest part of this podcast episode, the Astros signed Josh Hader to a 5 year, $95 million. That is a lot of money for a reliever. A lot. He's probably going to be like one of their relievers. Maybe they were talking about how Ryan Presley is probably going to be like an eighth inning guy, and then Josh Hader is probably going to be their closer. So Ryan Presley not going to get all those saves, and Josh Hader is just going to dominate.
Couple of things. One, 5 year, $95 million contract. Also, no deferrals in that contract, which means the Astros are going to pay that 95 over 5 years, not pushing anything out like the Dodgers did. Secondly, you mentioned it a little bit, maybe having Ryan Presley be an eighth inning guy. I think what's going to happen more than anything is you're going to be able to use Hader and Presley interchangeably depending on the situation. Depending on who's coming up, depending on some of the more advanced stats and analytics. I wouldn't be surprised to see Hader come out in the eighth inning if you've got maybe the tougher part of the lineup in the eighth, and then let Presley lock down the ninth, or the other way around. The Astros are really what they're trying to do. It's clear they're trying to just shorten games.
Yeah.
If the Astros can get to the seventh or the eighth with a lead, night.
Yeah.
Game over at that point. You can see that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, the Blue Jays have reached a 4 year, $32 million deal with Cuban right-hander Yariel Rodriguez. What do you think about this one? Never heard of him.
Sure.
Maybe he'll be good.
Maybe not. Who knows?
The Giants. Okay, so the Giants next they land Jordan Hicks for 4 years, $44 million. And the interesting part about this is he's going to be trying to work as a starter, which is interesting because, Jordan Hicks does like $104.5 million. And so he's going to make sure that he's going to have to control a little bit better. He's going to have to use his off-speed a little more because he can't gas for 5 innings straight. I mean, he could, but his arm would probably fall off. So he can't do that. So they're going to have to turn him into something that the Cardinals could not. And I'm kind of interested to see how it turns out.
Yeah, the Cardinals tried this experiment with Jordan Hicks, and then it didn't go very well because of injury and everything else, and just injury to Hicks, and then also injuries to other parts of the Cardinals bullpen that forced them to move him back into the bullpen. 4 years, $44 million. Not a bad deal if you can. Actually, it's not a bad deal either way. If the starter thing doesn't work, 4 years and $44 million is not terrible for a guy who could be a back into your bullpen option. So, good move by the Giants.
Yeah, all right, we're going to go a little bit quicker. The Yankees got Marcus Stroman for a 2 year, $37 million contract that includes a vesting player option. The Yankees just trying to add more guys to their 2024 roster. Try to be a little bit better than last year because last year was kind of been a little bit of a flop.
Yeah, I think Stroman's fine. I think it's a clear sign that they're probably out on Blake Snell. the only player that's the only real him and Jordan Montgomery, the only two players that are left of any real significance in the pitching market. But probably a sign that they're out on him.
Yep, the Chicago Cubs made a trade for Michael Busch, third baseman Michael Busch, and reliever Yancy Almonte from the Los Angeles Dodgers in exchange for a pair of toolsy teenage prospects, left-handed starter Jackson Ferris and outfielder Zero Hope.
We'll see. I mean,
hopefully they turn out.
You got the prospects. I'm intrigued by Jackson Ferris. That's the guy out of that trade that I would keep my eye on.
Next, the Cubs. They signed Shota Imanaga, the lefty, agreed to a 4-year, $53 million deal that has several provisions, including the team's option to extend the contract after both years 2 and 3 to $80 million over 5 years. I don't know how Shota Imanaga is going to turn out. He's a little bit older than some of the other guys, Yamamoto specifically. He's just a little bit older, and I'm not sure how his stuff is going to translate because he wasn't as shut down as Yamamoto over there overseas. So he might turn out great for the Cubs, but he might not. So I'm kind of unsure about this move.
Yeah, I think it's the Cubs went and got the Wish version of
Yamamoto.
Of Yamamoto. So we'll see what happens there.
The Dodgers, they added another guy. Yes, I know, another guy. The Dodgers added Teoscar Hernandez on the 1-year, $23.5 million contract. Just adding more players to their super team. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, we'll see. All of these guys got to play somewhere. The Dodgers definitely had a hole in the outfield. They're spending a lot of money. We'll see what happens. Baseball's one of those funny games where you play 162 games and it comes down to maybe a 5 or 7 game series there. Anything can happen. I just hope that bad things happen to the Dodgers.
Sean Mania, he was in one of our under the radar free agency guys, so check out that episode. But he joined the New York Mets on a 2-year, $28 million contract that includes an opt-out after the 2024 season. Nothing huge, but the Mets just are rebuilding. Mets are not exactly rebuilding, but they're trying to get back into the mix. Next, the Giants and the Seattle Mariners are in agreement on a trade that will send former Cy Young winner Robbie Ray to the Giants for outfielder Mitch Haniger and right-hander Anthony DeSclafani, sources say. So I kind of like this move. Another adding more to the starting rotation for the Giants, and then the Mariners just adding more guys for their lineup. I think I like this move. Mitch Haniger can be good sometimes, and Robbie Ray can be good. He used to be a Cy Young winner. So this is going to be the end of our podcast episode. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe. Thank you to MLB.com and ESPN.com for all the information. And we'll see you guys later.